I put a 10,000 milliamp hour battery bank inside my SP404, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So the first step was opening up the SP to see what kind of space I had in there. And if I left the battery compartment in there, I thought that I could probably fit one of these inside. There's a bunch of these that exist. It's a really small one. Technically, it might be able to fit in there, and it might be able to fit in between the battery compartment and the PCB. But this thing won't power the SP. I don't know what its output is or whatever, but it doesn't power the SP. A couple of the lights come on and it flickers. It doesn't work. So I gave up on that, and I decided to go with what I did, which is a thicker bank. I'll post all of the measurements of the bank and stuff. That'll all be in the description. But the problem is I have to remove the whole compartment here. I would put the battery compartment in here, and then I would take, not this exactly, but I would take this and plug that into the battery bank, and then I would cut a hole in the rear panel here, and then just feed this out, and then plug this in. But when I opened it, I figured out that the battery compartment has a positive and a negative wire that connects in a little plug, and you just plug it into the board. It'll be easier to explain once we open it up. And so let's just go on to that part. So we've got a red and a black wire, and I want to take this red and black wire, I'm going to unsolder these and then connect the red and the black to that. And then this cable will plug into here, and theoretically, hopefully, this will power this. So then I don't even need to do the other thing that I was thinking, which was I was just going to take, this converter to a DC and then cut a hole through this metal sheet in the back so that the cable comes through, and then I just plug it in. So then I'm basically plugging the bank directly into the DC, except the bank is inside, and then the cable just comes out and goes through there. Before you start soldering, you want to make sure that you get some shrink tubing, which is, if you look at the cable here, there's like these little black tubing things towards the battery plug end. And after I soldered it, I kind of scooched those up and then used a blow dryer to heat them up, and it shrinks the tubing around the solder. That way your connections are isolated or insulated. What I forgot to do was to put another piece of shrink tubing around where the USB is to then enclose all of it in a single cable, but I'm an idiot. So I actually found out later that this isn't even a soldering iron, it's a wood burner. That's how much I know about this shit. So if I can figure out how to do this shit, you'd be just fine doing this yourself. It was extremely easy. Ho, ho! We have lights. So now I need to remove the whole battery compartment so that the rear part of the chassis would fit and hold everything in there. So the only way that I could figure out how to cut that off without damaging too much of it was to use a box cutter and a blowtorch and heat up the box cutter until it was red hot so that I could slice through the plastic and just melt it. And it actually ends up working pretty well. It just took a little bit of work and a few razor blades. And it turned out that I kind of needed to cut off some of the little plastic bits on the door, but I had to be careful not to melt the little foam bits because I wanted those foam bits there to kind of help support things. But yeah, I just carefully cut off all of the little plastic pokey bits on the battery door. So that's it. It was surprisingly easy. It only took me an afternoon, and most of that was getting all of the pieces and tools and things that I needed because I didn't have anything. The other thing, so my initial plan was to just have this be clear, like plexiglass or just like clear plastic, so that I could see my battery life, so that I know when I need to charge it. But what I've figured out about all battery banks, like all the battery banks I have, they go to sleep. If your SP is just sitting there for a while and you just go to flip the power switch, it won't turn on. It won't do anything. So you actually have to come back here, wake up the battery, and then flip the power, and then it turns on. So you have to have access to this button. So for right now, I just take the battery door off, hit the button, flip the switch. That's fine. That's an easy trade-off to make when I have a 10,000 milliamp hour battery in it. I'll have a list of all of the things that I used. You can use different versions of them. So I'll have like the measurements of like the battery bank, stuff like that. Also, the one thing that I need to figure out how I'm gonna do, I still have, this is how I've been charging it. I just have a USB-C that plugs in on this side over here. So it's a little USB-C extender cable. It's just a short cable. And this cable needs a place to go on the device. My first thought, there's a little Kensington lock right here. I can bore that out a little bit wider. And that's actually right where the USB-C plugs in, right over here. So I might bore that out and then super glue this into that spot there. So I have a USB-C plug right there. So I just plug it in to charge it. And that might be, because this is metal, that might be a little bit more than I want to do. So I might just use the hot razor blade and cut a little hole right here and then glue the USB-C plug right there. And then I'll just plug it in on the side there. That might be the easiest way to do it, I think. And I'm all about being easy. All of the stuff will be in the description, everything you need to know. If you have any questions, hit up the comments. If you know more about this shit than I do and you have cooler ideas or ways to improve this, hit up the comments. Cause yeah, I don't know shit. I'm just figuring this shit out on my own. Thank you for watching. Hit the fucking like button. Hit it. Now that I have put in the work to do this, next week Roland will release another SP404 that has a better battery and USB-C and all of the cool shit that we want. Maybe that'll happen now and all of my work will be for nothing, but it's cool, I guess.